What's up, all my movie loving maniacs? This your boy Bankful B of The Last Factor, and with Thunderbolts coming out this weekend, just in time for my birthday, I wanted to go back and rewatch Black Widow. I already went back and rewatched Falcon and the Winter Soldier to prep for Captain America Brave New World. I didn't really feel like going back and rewatching Hawkeye, and I really didn't feel like going back to rewatch Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania because I already rewatched that 2 years ago and I just wasn't in the mood. So Black Widow I just thought was the best thing to watch to prep for Thunderbolts. So let's review. So Black Widow sees the return of Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. She reconnects with her fake family from when she was a kid. She finds out that the Red Room still exists and she teams up with them to take down the Red Room once and for all. Now, I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to talk about how I felt first, and then I'll talk about its history next. Now, generally speaking, how do I feel about this movie, both back then and as of now? Well, back then, I thought it was just meh, but over the time since it came out and after having more time to let it sit with me, I kind of like it. I accept this movie a little bit more, but still think that even at the time when it came out, it was way overdue. Because, like I said, it is a prequel, and it came out especially at the end of Endgame when we see her sacrifice herself. So, this coming out, it just kind of felt like an afterthought. But I do appreciate how serious and grounded this movie is. It's not afraid to at least allude to some dark places, even if sometimes it gets undercut by the comedic moments, which is typical for Marvel movies. Plus, you also got to think this movie got pushed back multiple times because of the pandemic. It eventually came out in the summer of 2021, July to be exact. And it also came out during a time when studios and streaming services they were releasing movies both in theaters and on a streaming service at the same time. And Scarlett Johansson, she even sued Disney because she didn't get what she was supposed to get in her contract for the amount of money she was supposed to get from this movie. And I do like its placement on the MCU timeline. It takes place between Civil War and Infinity War. Now, I do like the familial aspect of it because, like I said, they were a fake family that was under espionage. David Harbour was her fake daddy, Rachel Weisz was her fake mama, and Florence Pugh was her fake sister, but they still had that sisterly bond. And they each have to deal with the consequences of their actions in regards to the Red Room. Melina being complacent with the experiments that ultimately affected the Black Widows, Red Guardian being in cahoots with Dreykov, but then he ends up getting dropped and then put in prison, and then Yelena, she's basically a victim of being a Black Widow. She was unwillingly under control. And then, of course, you have Natasha Romanoff, who basically defected from the Black Widow program, thought it was destroyed, but then come to find out it's still out there, and Yelena is still a victim to it. And this also came out during a time when Florence Pugh's career was really starting to take off. In fact, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is just her, and she is just acting, and she is just having a breakdown because Natasha Romanoff, she was saying how none of it felt real, but it felt real to her, which makes sense. She was the youngest within this fake family, so it's like the happiest moments was when she was with them, just being a normal kid, and then having all that ripped away when she is forced into the Red Room. Side note, my favorite funny moment from her in this movie was when she was basically mocking Natasha Romanoff for always doing the pose. Such a poser. And Scarlett Johansson, hey, this is her umpteenth MCU movie at the time. So she basically clocked in her work and she could basically play this role in her sleep, but she did an excellent job for her solo film. David Harbour plays Alexei, aka the Red Guardian, who's basically he was injected with a variant of the super soldier serum, and so now he's Russia's version of Captain America, or in this case, Red Guardian. And I just like how he basically switches up from the beginning of the movie to being a sleeper agent to being just a big idiot that has delusions of grandeur as the Red Guardian that also loves his daughters. David Harbour, I don't know why, I just like him as this character. And I can't wait to see him in the Thunderbolts. Ray Winstone plays Dreykov, who is the head of the Black Widow program, and he makes all the widows unwillingly basically do anything he wants them to do, which is just downright despicable and uncomfortable and kind of alludes to something that happened in the real world regarding a certain studio figure. Totally forgot Thunderbolt Ross was in this movie, and this time played by William Hurt when he was still alive. Rest in peace. But overall, he had a reduced role. He was just there just to drive the plot along. O.T. Fegbin, whatever. Forgive me if I mispronounce his last name, but either way, he plays a character in this movie. He's basically there just to help Natasha Romanoff and get her jets and anything else that she needs. He's basically her handler, and honestly, I was kind of disappointed with this character because I thought he was gonna turn out to be Taskmaster, who is not the Taskmaster from the comics. It turns out Taskmaster is Dreykov's daughter, who is played by Olga Kurylenko. And honestly, I feel the same way about this, the same way I feel about how they handled the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Does it make sense in context of the movie? Yes, but doing that to an iconic, well known comic book character, it's a little bit different. And while I think Taskmaster is a cool character, I don't have the vast knowledge to care about this character enough about whether or not he's portrayed accurately in the movie or not. But I understand why others would feel upset about this. I will say, for a movie that clocks in at 2 hours and 15 minutes, it felt kind of short. I remember even when I watched this in the theater back in 2011, I was like, oh, the movie's about to be ready already. We're at the third act. And I did, generally speaking, enjoy the third act. It just has this pace where I'm like, all right, now we're here, now we're here, and now we're here. And I was like, huh? Overall, I like this movie because it lays the groundwork for some of the characters that we would see in movies going forward. It's an okay send off to the Black Widow character as portrayed in the movies. I will say, half the time I did forget. I'm like, oh yeah, this movie did happen. I don't think this movie is as bad as everyone makes it out to be, but at the same time, it does feel a little bit overdue. Like I said, this is a movie that should have came out years ago, but instead it came out post Endgame, therefore making it feel like an afterthought. But if you take all that baggage away, I still think this is an enjoyable movie. I'm gonna give Black Widow a mid thumbs up emoji. That's it for the day. Have you seen Black Widow? I mean, you probably have. It's been out for a little over 4 years now, but have you seen this movie? If so, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know how where this movie ranks amongst all the other MCU movies, and how do you feel about this movie since it first came out? Do you think it's gotten better over time, or do you think it's gotten worse over time? It's your boy Bangful B of The Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.